Hey, welcome everyone to the first installment in the How to Use series. On today's docket is the Stochastic RSI. I will be going over what it is, the formula, how it's calculated, and what it tells you. To be quite honest, if you're looking for that type of information or content, you will not find that in today's piece. You can always go to YouTube where you will find a number of examples or videos like that one, that, and that. The list will just keep going on and on and on. Today's presentation, albeit short but hopefully impactful, will focus specifically on a stochastic RSI pattern, a pattern that has helped me with my trading, and hopefully you all will find some utility in it as well. So join me on the other side as I dig into this a bit more. In my relatively short time trading, I've come across quite a few repeatable patterns on the stochastic RSI. And just to name a few, you have one, the V bottom. And once I zoom in, you all can see it's no secret as to why I've named it that. The next pattern is the square bottom. But the pattern that I've found to be most reliable once coupled with patience is this, the two humps pattern. The mechanics of this is pretty straightforward. You're waiting for the both lines of the stochastic RSI to fall into the oversold region, and you're looking for your K line to cross the D line 3 times in an upward fashion. So you would have one cross here, a second one here, and a third one. And it's after the third cross you are going to enter the trade and ride whatever instrument that you're in from the oversold region into the overbought region. With that said, I have a few examples covering different markets and time frames. We will start with the stock market. I have 3 examples that we will touch on. I'll then pivot to the crypto space, and thereafter I will focus on the NAS 100 E-mini futures, which is in the commodities market and also happens to be the instrument that I trade the most. So let's get to the first example, which is Amazon on the daily chart. You have stochastic RSI rolling into the oversold region and the K crossing the D lines once, a second time, and a third time in an upward fashion. And it's after the third cross, which is where I would enter the trade and hold this until given a reason to exit. Most videos that I have, in fact, all of the videos that I've seen with respect to stochastic RSI state that you should wait for one cross, and that is an indication that you should enter a trade. That is definitely not how I see it. The second example is more of the same. It's in the oversold region. You have your first cross, your second cross, or third cross, which forms your two humps, and it's after the third cross you're going to enter this trade here on this candle, and you're holding this until given a reason to exit. The more of the same for this example and that example. You can see you have one hump, you have a second hump, which equals 3 crosses. After the third cross, you're entering the trade here. And depending on your trading style, depending on the targets that you have set, or simply using the stochastic RSI for your entries and exits, you're going to hold this until you see a reversal. We are now going to go to Mastercard on the weekly. You have the stochastic RSI rolling over into the oversold region. You are now waiting for what? 3 crosses or 2 humps on stochastic RSI. You have the first K crossing the D line here in an upward fashion, the second time here, and the third occurrence here, and it's after the third occurrence, so after the second hump, you're entering the trade, which would be here. And on a weekly, this is a key advantage for anyone that's swing trading. We have another example, which is on Fubo. On the daily chart, you have the stochastic RSI, it's both lines, K and D, falling into the oversold region. You have your 2 humps, your 3 crosses, you're entering the trade here, and you're holding this until given a reason to exit the trade, whether it be a target that you have set or you're simply following the stochastic RSI. So now let's go to BTC. On the daily chart, you have two examples here, one taking place earlier this year and one a bit more recent. And it's more of the same. You have your first cross, your second cross, and a third cross here. Here's your entry candle, and you're holding this until given a reason to exit the trade. And if you take a look at this particular instance here, you have 1, 2, 3, or 1 hump, 2 humps. You're entering the trade here and you are riding this baby until given a reason to get off. Let's now go to the instrument that I trade the most. It is the NAS 100 E-mini futures, and we are going to start on the monthly chart. I just want to show to you or illustrate to you that this is something that no matter the time frame, you're going to see this happen time and time again. So the stochastic RSI rolls over into the oversold region. You have your 3 upward crosses, 1, 2, 3, and it's after that third cross or after the second hump you are going to enter the trade. And if you're entering here, anyone that trades the NAS 100 E-mini futures, you all know if you do have the margin of the capital to hold on to this, this would be a tremendously great swing. So that's on the monthly chart. Let's go to the weekly. On the weekly, it happens quite a bit more. You have the stochastic RSI, the K crossing the D line once, a second time, and a third time. After the third time, you're entering the trade here, and you are riding stochastic up until given a reason to get off of the trade. It happens here again, 1, 2. After the second hump, which equals the third cross, you're entering the trade after, and you are holding this. And you also see another example here, 1, 2, and you are holding this. Let's now go to the daily chart. We have 2 examples here. It's just more of the same. You all can freeze the video at this particular spot, zoom in on this, go to your own charts and take a look at it. The stochastic RSI that I am using, I do get it from TradingView, and I haven't changed any of the settings. Everything is at its default. We are now going to the 4-hour chart. You have one example here, a second example, and a third example. Do I need to repeat myself? Not necessarily. So let's go to, what do we have next? The hourly chart. Yes, on the hourly is more of the same. And last but not least, we have a few examples on the 5-minute, which is the chart that I trade the most. You have 1 cross. Yes, it didn't come into the oversold territory, but it doesn't have to always happen like that. So you have 1, 2. This is your second hump or third cross. It corresponds to this candle here. You're entering the trade here, and you are riding it until given a reason to get off. Here's another example on the 5-minute chart. You have 1, 2. You're entering the trade here and you are riding. And this is actually very recent. This was on the 24th. This happened a few days ago. And we have, I think this should be the last one. You have 1, 2, 3 crosses in an upward fashion. The K line is crossing the D line in an upward fashion. And then after the third cross, you're entering on this candle and you are holding this until given a reason to get off. So there you have it, guys. The 2 humps pattern in its rawest form, once used with patience, can bring good exits and entries, and most importantly, wins. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next installment of the How to Use series. Have a good one.